Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Muhammad Ali. I am a member of Prince George's County Muslim Council. Tonight, we have council members Mel Franklin and Chairman Calvin Hawkins. We'll have some discussion about the issues we have in our county, so we'll give you guys 2 or 3 minutes to get ready before we start. Thank you. If you're just joining us, we will start in about 1 minute. This is Prince George's County Muslim Council virtual town hall meeting with council members Mel Franklin and Calvin Hawkins. All right, good evening, everyone, again. Thank you for joining Prince George's County Muslim Council virtual town hall meeting with council members at large, Chairman Calvin Hawkins and Council Member Mel Franklin. This virtual town hall meeting is a discussion about some of the issues that our county is facing. So if you have any question, you will be able to post your questions on Facebook or YouTube comment section, and we will pick up your questions from there and ask the council members. At this time, I will introduce you to the presidents of Prince George's Muslim Council. Jamil Alim Johnson, please welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're very pleased to have the council members, Chairman Calvin Hawkins and Council Member at Large Mel Franklin, joining us tonight to discuss issues related to Prince George's County, and particularly issues that are concerned to the Muslim community. For those who are not aware, Prince George's County Muslim Council is a not-for-profit civic and political organization whose mission is to engage the Muslim community in the civic and political affairs of the county, the purpose of which is to facilitate our way of life, and as well as the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam often told us, to help support our neighbors so that we have a better environment and a better quality of life for everyone. It's very important. You saw what happened in places like Georgia when they were able to get the people involved. Empowerment is key. We often say at PGCMC, faith plus action equals empowerment. So it's important that you get involved, become members of PGCMC, but also particularly to get involved in activities like this. Make sure that you're registered to vote, that your family members who are eligible are registered to vote, but that you're also being active in your neighborhoods to make things for the better. So if you want more information or want to become involved in PGCMC, you can go to our website, www.pgcmc.org. And also at the end of next month, we'll also be having a similar forum with Representative Representative Anthony Brown, member of Congress, 4th Congressional District. So make sure you join us for that too. Back to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Brother Jamil. At this time, we will have you actually introduce council members, Hawkins as well as Franklin. Maybe you can give them some background information about them so our members know about them.
Well, thank you very much. We are joined by the chair of the council, Councilman Hawkins, who is a member at large. He previously served with County Executive Rashern Baker as one of his assistants before winning office in 2018. And we're also joined by Mel Franklin, who is a member of the council at large, but served previously in a council district going back, if I remember correctly, to about 2010, that he was in that seat. And it's focused on particularly issues related to economic development, something that's very important to him, important to us as a community. And one thing I want to say is that both these gentlemen are two of the most responsive members of the council that I've met. They are great public servants. So we're really pleased to have them here with us tonight. And so our brother Muhammad Ali will moderate the conversation, and I'll turn it back to Brother Muhammad Ali. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, Brother Jamil. At this time, I will be giving 5 minutes to each council member. We'll start with Council Member Calvin Hawkins. If you can give us 5 minutes of your time and to basically give us some background about you, basically your opening remarks. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for this opportunity to come before you with my esteemed colleague and the senior member at large, Mel Franklin. Whenever there's an opportunity to come and talk with you brothers and sisters, I welcome it, more so for the dialogue that we will engage and how much I'll learn and take back, as well as Councilmember Franklin. Our county is going through a very unique and strange situation, a situation occurring throughout the country, I guess the world, when you think about COVID-19, when you think about police reform, when you think about what's going on with our school system as far as the school board is concerned. But Councilmember Franklin and I are committed to working on those issues. But more importantly, I'm honored to have an opportunity to work with Councilmember Franklin on some of his economic empowerment issues for men and women of color. And he now has some council members who are courageous enough to stand with him and fight for those issues that's important. For example, many of you may not even participate in gambling, but we have a gaming bill, House Bill 960, that our colleagues are preparing to pass. Is over $1 billion industry with revenue, and yet less than 1% of it goes to minorities as far as ownership, contracts. And yes, we could stay silent about it, but we're not going to stay silent about it. We're going to ask the questions in Prince George's County. Why can't some of those economic resources come back to our community, and why can't we be involved, as Councilmember Franklin has been speaking about for the last 10 years as a council member? We now are going to raise the bar when it comes to how we deal with economic empowerment and social justice in Prince George's County. Lastly, I'll say that as I was in the chat box listening, you all talked about the cannabis bill. And I can assure you, Councilmember Franklin and I and 8 other council members held that bill because it did not meet the criteria we're looking for that support communities. And one of your Muslim brothers came on, and Brother Haji came on and spoke to what the community said when they had public meetings about why they didn't want that bill to pass. And we heard you and we supported holding it to get it in a way that it could pass, and people like you and those who live in those communities and communities around the county can support something like that. If not, we will not move it forward. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to working with you and listening to your concerns and answering questions as appropriate. Again, thanks for the invitation.
Thank you, Councilman Calvin. Very good. Next question. Next 5 minutes, I'll be giving the opportunity to Councilman Mel Franklin. If you can take 5 minutes to basically introduce yourself and do the opening for that. Thank you.
Sure. Assalamu alaikum. And I want to say, I'm definitely not going to need 5 minutes. My good friend, Chair Hawkins, really said it all, to be honest with you. And yeah, it's a pleasure working under his leadership. He's, you all know, Chair Hawkins is the guy you want with you when the chips are down. And he is a leader second to none. I want to thank him for his strong leadership already as council chair. We are working hand in hand on the issues of building generational wealth in communities of color. We know that this is an issue that Prince George's County has to take head on. We talk a lot about our place in the world. If communities of color are going to get it right, we're going to get it right here in Prince George's County. That's really the bottom line. And I want to thank Chair Hawkins for his leadership on that. I do have the privilege to serve the residents of Prince George's County now in my 11th year on the Prince George's County Council. It is a labor of love. This is my calling, public service, as I know as council member and Chair Hawkins' calling as well. We want Prince George's County, we want to empower Prince George's County to truly be second to none. And we have a ways to go to get there, but we're on the march. I think we're on the march, and I think we are making that kind of progress. We are in the middle of still a pandemic. I do think we can at least see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now that these vaccines are moving more rapidly nationwide than expected, we're finally getting more of an allocation here in Prince George's County. You all may have seen some of the criticism that many of us were mentioning early on that we weren't getting the allocations we deserved. The increase in allocations has happened for our vaccines, and now we have to make sure that we have the capacity to deliver them to our residents. We know there's been a lot of frustration amongst our residents in terms of signing up, in terms of getting appointments. I had the opportunity to speak to the Lieutenant Governor about this. I truly believe we should have much more streamlined way of signing people up, but the approach the state has gone has been an approach of having people sign up multiple places and eventually getting a spot. I think that's created some chaos, but the good news is that the vaccine doses are increasing on even a daily basis and definitely a weekly basis. And the hope is that by the end of the summer, we will have vaccinated most of the country. So that progress is moving forward. We do want to get back to normalcy. It won't be the same normal that we had before, but we want to get back to something resembling it. We had a report today that we've seen an uptick in carjackings. We've seen an uptick in certain kinds of crime, largely due to the pandemic, largely due to the circumstances created by the pandemic. And we want to get back to being able to reduce crime and improving public safety again. We want to get our economy back, and we want to get kids back to school. We want to get back to all those great things that make our community what it is. And I know we want to have our folks to get back to worship the way that we all are accustomed to worshiping in Prince George's County. This is probably a county with the highest faith per capita of any place in America. I mean, we have a high percentage of our population in our faith community. And I want to thank the Prince George's County Muslim Council. You are vigilant. You've been vigilant for a long time in making sure that equity and civil rights and those issues are at the forefront, and you're continuing to do that. even with tonight's event and going forward. So thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you, to be with my friend, Chair Calvin Hawkins, and I look forward to tonight's discussion.
Thank you, Councilman Mel Franklin, as well as Calvin Hawkins. We appreciate. I mean, you already started on answering some of the questions we are about to ask you. So at this point, I will be moving on the questions that we have already received, and then we'll go back to the questions that we are getting and comments from either YouTube or Facebook viewers. So the first question will be to both of you. Councilman Mel, you already touched on it. Maybe I'll start with Councilman Calvin. So the first question is, obviously the COVID-19 virus had devastating effect on Prince George's County community, just as it has nearly every place in the world. What is the county's plan for vaccinating the community? Are there any specifics you can provide us?
As Councilmember Franklin shared, we are working hard, and I want to say, and I'm unequivocal about this, our county executive, Angela Alsobrooks, is pushing the individuals under her to get the vaccination rollout right for our citizens. We're in 1C. We're opening up more and more locations because of council members, especially Councilmember Mel Franklin. As he mentioned, he spoke with the Lieutenant Governor about some of the concerns that he observed, and he talked about them. So as a result, I believe the state have provided more vaccines for the county. We just have to get a better organized approach to how we give them out. And we are expanding, as you all may know, not just Six Flags, not just the Wayne Curry Sports and Learning Complex. There are faith-based institutions that are now opening their doors to become provide opportunities for individuals to get the vaccines. Then we have, and we even going into our senior citizen locations, trying to take the vaccine to the people. And I'm hopeful that as a result of this conversation, you all will let some of your mosques be a place where your members can come and get the vaccine, and you can talk Dr. Ali to them about its importance. And I think County Council Member Mel Franklin may want to add, because I don't want to take all the thunder, but I did want to publicly commend him for having the courage to raise the issue that everyone was staying away from, and that is the county needs more vaccines based on our population. And it appears the Lieutenant Governor heard them, and they responded favorably. So that's courage in public service that you don't see a lot of, but it's happening on your behalf. And Councilmember Franklin was one to have that courage to speak on it. So I'll end it there, and if there's any follow-up questions, I will answer it when the appropriate time comes.
Thank you. Do you want to add anything to Mel?
I think Chair Hawkins said it all, and I want to say thank you to him. We work as a team on the county council, and Chair Hawkins does not allow Prince George's County to be put on the back burner for anybody. And so, that's really, I think, what's having the impact. I think in tandem with, I think, our county executive is still, as Council Chair Hawkins said, is also stepping up in pushing her team to build its capacity. As Chair Hawkins said, we're bringing more churches online. We don't want a situation where the state responds and says, hey, okay, here's the vaccine, but then we don't have the capacity to get it out to our community, or even worse, this vaccine hesitancy that we keep hearing about becomes a problem. So the hope is that we can continue to allay fears about any health dangers of the vaccine. I think both Council Chair Hawkins and myself, we've both been vaccinated. We wanted to show the community that it is safe and it is effective. And one of the great things that the Muslim Council can do is to encourage your members, when they become eligible, to sign up and get the vaccine. The faith community in Prince George's County, or our faith communities, are powerful messengers for the residents that attend and that worship with you. And so, you know, they'll listen to you much more than they'll listen to us elected officials. So I want to encourage you to carry that message to your members that we've got to get this vaccine, particularly out in our Black and brown communities. We were the hardest hit by COVID-19. We continue to be. And the faster we get the vaccine into the arms of our residents, the faster we will have a safer community and will save lives.
Thank you, Councilman Franklin and Councilman Hawkins. And as far as getting our centers open to be used for vaccination facility, I think we can ask our president to work with these centers. Maybe we might be able to use them, and we'll give you some updates on that. So I'll go to the next question, which is, what future resources does the county expect to offer for people who need assistance, including aspects of the business community that have been hardest hit, like restaurants, hotels, and other social gathering facilities?
Dr. Ali, could you go to Councilmember Franklin first? That is his bailiwick. That's his area. No one is harder for businesses in Prince George's County than Councilmember Franklin. I would not attempt to go before him on that issue there.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. No, I that's too kind, man. We have had a number of relief measures for our business community. Even right now, I want to encourage anyone who needs assistance to make sure they apply for the Paycheck Protection Program, which is the federal program. My understanding, there's still money there, unused money, billions of it. Contact your bank, contact the Small Business Administration if that does not work. But we want to encourage all of our African American and other minority-owned businesses to really go after that paycheck protection funding. It is critical to the survival of our county. I also want to, my understanding is that the federal stimulus law that's making its way through Congress will have some additional money for that program, as well as some additional money for the economic injury program, which is the EIDL funding. So definitely want to encourage that. The state is passing a stimulus measure that's going to provide some relief for small businesses. The county had a $20 million fund that got expended very quickly. We currently, I believe, just passed the deadline for our hotel resiliency fund. We had a restaurant resiliency fund. So we've been doing a number of things to try to keep our businesses afloat and surviving. There's more that needs to be done. Hopefully we as a county will consider a permanent small minority business grant program. So there's more to be done. The advocacy of the Prince George's County Muslim Council, I think, can help as we approach our budget process in pushing the message that we as a county need to continue to even do more to support our small minority businesses here in the county. There's so many that are struggling. If you just drive around each day, you see businesses that were closed that were open a month ago. And a month from now, you'll see the same thing. So I want to encourage all of us advocating for more assistance for our small and minority business in particular. I think what you saw with a lot of the relief programs is that the businesses that had the most resources, the most wherewithal, were the ones that were more quickly able to get funding. And many of our small businesses that did not have that long track record of working with banks or the long track record of getting assistance, many of them were left out. So I want to encourage all of us to continue to push the issues of equity when it comes to all of these relief programs.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman Franklin. This question I'm going to take from those that are watching from YouTube. It's related to the last question. It says economic development is key for any community. What are the top 3 development plans and programs for Prince George's County over the next 5 to 7 years? Just because we need economic development doesn't mean that we will eat from the garbage. So as you know that they are trying to open canopies around. So this question is related to that. So what are the top 3 priorities or development plans and programs from Prince George's County over the next 5 to 7 years? Either one of you can start.
Well, I'll just mention a couple of things. I know Plan 2035 is kind of our big plan for the county in terms of where the county should go in terms of our direction. And then we also have an economic development plan that I believe is going to get a refresh. I think it was last put in place about 6 or 7 years ago. But clearly our regional medical center is our biggest project that's occurring here in the county. And it's almost, I believe it's basically in virtual completion. So that's going to be certainly a big priority. And I know we have a number of major projects in the New Carrollton area that are coming online and that are being built. I believe WMATA's regional headquarters is being built there. And then we have a number of projects that just gotten completed that are really in sort of waiting period because of COVID-19. The Citizenship and Immigration Services headquarters just got built in the Camp Springs area. It's gonna have 3,000 to 4,000 federal employees in that building once COVID-19 subsides, and that's going to be a big catalyst for economic development in the Camp Springs area. So those are just 3 major projects. But we do have an economic development plan, and the priorities are to focus on that IT space, the information technology and cybersecurity space, to focus on the federal sector and getting those agencies and the development that comes with them. And then healthcare, life sciences, massive area of the economy. We're trying to turn healthcare from a weakness into a strength. We want to go from a county where most people go outside of the county for hospital care to a county where most people go inside the county for their hospital care, and then why don't they even have to go to the hospital because they get such great preventative health care here in the county. And so we're making a lot of progress on a number of those fronts. And who can deny our strength in the hospitality, tourism, and entertainment industry with National Harbor? It is still a jewel of this region. I dare say we say the country and the world, and it continues to be the most uniquely successful economic development project in the county. Those are just my thoughts.
And Dr. Ali,
how about you? Go ahead.
Yes. May I add to what the council member at large said? And we're focusing on our transit-oriented development communities. Along, you all hear a lot about the Purple Line project, and then over one of the areas around the hospital with our Blue Line corridor projects that we're working on. That's up Central Avenue. And then we're going to do stuff up in the north, of course, as well as in the south. The council member at large really spoke on those. But also, we're working with our colleagues in Charles County to ensure, and the council member at large has been on this one for years, the support the Southern Maryland Rapid Transit Project. So that's all important. And he mentioned about our healthcare and communities now with United Medical Capital Region Hospital coming. You got Kaiser, you have Doctors Hospital. It seems like they're all stepping up. So we're building up those medical institutions in the communities around them. But the question becomes, as we do all that, how does the Prince George's County Muslim community participate and engage in the opportunities to pursue some of that, those wealth opportunities? And that's where Councilmember Franklin and I would love to work with you all after this town hall to ensure that that occurs, because your president, Jamil Johnson, had brought that up maybe on a couple of occasions, and both Mel and I have talked about it, but now we want to go from discussing to letting you all experience some reality, or helping you experience some realities with the economic vibrancy that's on its way, that's here, notwithstanding COVID-19, but it's here, and we want you all to benefit from some of those opportunities. Mel knows how to get us there. He and I know how to get the votes to ensure that we make it to that point that we're trying to reach. So I want to make sure we all understand that.
Definitely. I mean, we have.
And if I could just say, I think we are blessed that we have a council chair who is an unabashed advocate for equity and ownership in the hands of Black and brown people in Prince George's County and Chair Hawkins. And I don't just say that because he's my friend, he's sitting and he's here. I say that because that is essential to getting this job done.
Very good. I mean, I'll take another question. I was going to ask about police reform, but since we are with this economic development, one of the questions came that says county property around the metros have gone to people outside of the county. Almost 30 million TIF has gone to other companies. So there isn't any equity is basically what the question is saying. We have a lot of business owners in the county. So what are some of the things basically to ensure that those money goes to county residents, the locals, rather than people from outside of the county?
Yeah, I mean, and I know Chair Hawkins can add to this too. We have to continue to strengthen not only our laws and policies, but our enforcement. We still have big challenges when it comes to compliance and enforcing, even the requirements that we do have. We did put in place a community benefits agreement with MGM that created quite a bit of opportunity for that in that project alone. But far too often, we're spending a lot of county tax dollars in development projects, but we're not seeing enough of that equity and ownership particularly, but even the contracting dollars stay with people of color in Prince George's County. And so that's really got to come down to, and I know that's something me and Councilor Hawkins are in the midst of working on right now. We've got to create even stronger policies around equity and opportunity anytime there's a dollar spent of county tax dollars in a development or a regular just public project. It also needs to apply to the school system when they spend dollars, as well as park and planning and other agencies that are spending your hard-earned tax dollars, but those dollars aren't circulating to people of color here in Prince George's County. So really the answer to that question is we need stronger policies. We need your expertise, particularly those of you in business, because a lot of people assume that we as elected officials, that we have that knowledge when we don't. And a lot of times we need that feedback as to what is and isn't working. We can put in place all the laws we want, but if they're not really being executed in a way where dollars and opportunity is reaching people of color, particularly in the county, then what we're doing is not effective. So I would encourage you all to continue to help and support us. And when we have challenging issues where we're trying to move something forward for the people of Prince George's County, but we're getting pushback because it's not the path of least, it's not the path of least resistance. I would tell you, and I'll leave you with this, the reason why, the biggest reason why opportunity doesn't flow to people of color in Prince George's County the way it should is because we historically haven't been the receivers of that opportunity. And because of that, those with the history of getting that opportunity are the path of least resistance for those who give out that opportunity, i.e. the bureaucrats and the people who make the decisions. And so we have to put backbone behind our policies and practices for equity and diversity so that even if it's not the path of least resistance, even if it's doing things a little bit the hard way and having our county do business with businesses that they haven't historically done business with, we should still get that done. Because that's what it's going to take us, a culture change in how we do things. I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Councilman Franklin. As you know, the county is building a middle school in Glenarden. That's a big contract. Where is that money going? Is it locals? As you know, Flowers High School, they have HVAC issues. Our locals can do that. County residents can do that. Where is that contract going? These are some of the issues that Prince George Muslim Council have the same way as the county residents. But when it comes to marijuana dispensaries, we don't want to pass something like that. When it comes to the big money we're giving to somebody else, why don't we move that to another county? Let them deal with that. So issues like that, our members. So I'll move on to the next question.
Dr. Ali, could I just add to what Council Member at Large said?
Yes, sir.
I agree, and he agrees with everything you all saying. The person that posted that question, all I can do is like this. I don't have the answer. The council member brought up some good points. But what I will say to you all have us here, and what I'm saying, let's not just let those questions be questions for a town hall like this. The follow-up has to be, okay, we're going to sit down with you all and let's decide how we make this different than it is today and make tomorrow better for you all, and get those whether it's the HVAC at a flower school. We don't have all the answers, but working with you all, 4 more votes on the council, we can move some of the stuff you want to see, but it's communicating and organizing now to get the kind of support we need to get the things that you all are talking about. You brought it up. Let's make it happen.
Definitely. Thank you very much. So I'll go to the next question, which is police reform has been a key issue across the country. We now have an acting police chief due to resignation of Chief Stonsky behind accusations of discriminatory policing. Tell us about the police reform recommendations and what the community should expect from the police in the upcoming months and years. Either one of you, council members, can start.
I will start if the council member at large don't mind. He's the senior council member, so even though I have the chair in front of me, I normally yield to him because he's been such a great mentor while I've been on the county council. But when you talk about community engagement, employee recruitment and retention, and so many issues, I don't know if many of you had the chance to meet the former chief. I wouldn't, even working with Rashawn Baker, having sat on the council for the short period I had no idea that the level and the magnitude of the issues were what has come out as a result of these reports. And so the county executive accepted 46 of the 50 recommendations from the Police Reform Task Force. Councilmember Franklin and other council members have talked about the financial minute, the independent oversight, all the things that you as a Muslim county, as just citizens, will want out of your police force. And we're working to ensure some of those things get implemented. I remember, and I'm going to end on this so the council member have an opportunity to respond. I will end on this. I remember in 2001, working my only year for council, working for county exec Wayne Carey, and he sent me to Annapolis in 2001, 20 years ago, talking about the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights, talking about reforming, changing that. And some of the elected officials from Prince George's County, who are either delegate or senator, still there, everyone stayed away from it. The Maryland State FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, gave too much money, have too much influence. And now, as I believe, the county executive, Wayne Carey, looks from the eternal, seeing that now our people, as a result of George Floyd and some of these other issues, are now having the courage and the fortitude to change the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights. So I'm excited that some of those things are going to change, that use of force and all the things that the council member if you go back and check his record, he's been talking about these issues while on the council. So now we got a chance to do something that hopefully will make each of your members and the citizens of Prince George's proud of what we do as a council, what we will do as a council to address some of those police reform issues. Councilmember Franklin.
Yeah, I want to say ditto what Council Chair Hawkins says. He's got a strong background in emergency management and public safety, so he knows these issues frontward and backward, and far better than I do. And I do know the challenges that the police department is confronting are huge, but they have to be taken and addressed head on, so that we can make sure that we have fairness in the treatment of not only our residents, but also officers of color as they seek to advance up the ladder in the police department, so that we make sure that we have not only a department whose membership is reflective of Prince George's County's community, but that the department's leadership becomes more reflective of Prince George's County's ethnic diversity, and we're still not there yet on that, and we have a lot of work to do on that. I think Chair Hawkins said it best. A lot of the recommendations, I think, are really thorough, and they're really good, and they really try to get at creating independence in oversight. I think all of them kind of come back to that whole thing: more independent oversight of fair treatment in terms of our citizens, but also those officers of color in the department. And I think if we implement them, I think they'll get us a long way towards a much more fair criminal justice system. I think the police is one part of it. I think we still have work to do on other parts of the criminal justice system. We still need to do more with reentry and making sure that we don't continue to have this revolving door where our returning citizens can't find gainful employment, and then they wind up going back into the same system, interacting with the same public safety apparatus. So we have a lot of work to do, but I ditto and echo everything Chair Hawkins said.
Thank you, Councilmember Franklin and Hawkins. So here, and the next question is from online. It's related to the last question. This member said, my company owns multiple gas stations and convenience stores in the county. We are being robbed consistently and at some stations the same day every week. Now, the police hasn't been able to control this issue. How can you help Prince George's County business owners to protect their investment in this prosperous county?
I would just simply say, Dr. Ali, to that person, if he or she is comfortable enough to talking with the President Jamil Johnson, where Councilmember Franklin and I can have a conversation offline with him or her to see how we can help them address those concerns. Because we're grateful they have that many businesses in the county, but we can deal with that offline so we can really dig deep into dealing with that and getting that addressed. And Councilmember Franklin may have more to add, but that's my response.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. We passed, I think, some legislation a number of years ago to require the video cameras and the up-to-date security cameras to try to catch more suspects. Obviously, with masking and things of that nature, that still doesn't make things easy. And so I echo what Chair Hawkins said. Let's work offline. Let's make sure you're in touch with your COPS officer that works the beat of each of your stores, or I should say the COPS officer that can connect you to the patrol officers that work the beat for each of your stores, so that you have that relationship and you can communicate with them directly. But I definitely echo what Chair Hawkins said.
Thank you. This question is actually related to the last two questions. So here, this question from Ibn Taymiyyah Masjid, which is on MLK. So it says, we are receiving complaints from the Masjid Ibn Taymiyyah community on MLK in Glen Arden about the liquor store next door. You have late night traffic and non-legal substance also being sold. How can we address this? Do we want liquor being sold at drive-thrus late at night? Isn't this contributing to DWIs? So basically saying, can we close the stores at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock?
So to be honest with you, that's the liquor board. So this is one of the things about local government. Local government is not necessarily complicated, but we have a Prince George's Board of License Commissioners that handles those kind of requirements. They're called the liquor board. They are created and established by state law, and the state gives them authority to determine issues of how long the liquor stores can stay open, the drive-through issue. We don't have that authority as a county council, but I do want to encourage you to, if you do have issues, contact the Board of License Commissioners. They have inspectors that will come out and make things that are being sold that are not legally sold at that liquor store, that's happening, that those inspectors tend to be pretty tough, and they will crack down on that. So definitely, if you can't find the information for the Board of License Commissioners, which is the liquor board, either me or Calvin, Calvin or my offices can help with connecting you to that information.
Thank you, Councilmember Franklin. Actually, the next question is directed to you. It says, you are a major advocate of economic development, because Georges County is often spoken as the most affluent Black county in the United States. However, it seems that most of the dollars for major projects in the county go to the majority firms of people that don't live here. That means they hire less from here, the county that is, pay less taxes in the county, and spend less disposable income than individuals that are from the county. The Muslim community in this county is very diverse ethnically and racially. What legislations do you recommend that would provide more opportunities to diverse businesses from Prince George's County like we have in the Muslim community? Very wordy.
Yeah, I mean, we need a comprehensive diversity and equity policy that applies to any time a county dollar is spent on a development project or a public project, and the same for the school system, as well as park and planning and any other sister agencies that are spending your hard-earned tax dollars. I mean, we need a policy that will require that equity, will require high levels of participation for people of color in the contracts, and we'll push towards having our contracts be GCs on these jobs and not just subs. That's really what we need. And this is the tough part, we need enforcement and a culture change in our bureaucracies that are going to work to maximize that kind of policy, not undermine. Chair Hawkins and I can pass all the laws we want all day. If on the executive side of government, if we don't have the agencies complying and implementing and enforcing these policies, then the laws we pass are just words on a piece of paper. And in the past, the culture when it comes to spending Prince George's County dollars has been a culture of take the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is always going to be using the large majority-owned company that isn't around here. Because those are the companies that have the history, they have the infrastructure, they have the resources to make things so easy for an overworked, underpaid bureaucrat who says, hey, that company out of Sterling, Virginia is making my job really easy. I need to get these dollars out the door and get them spent. And I know them. I don't know you're in Bowie, person of color, African-American business. I don't know you. Never dealt with you before. I've dealt with this majority out of Sterling, VA for 10 years. And I know that as soon as I get in contact with them, they can do it and it's done. And my job, I can go home early. That's what we're up against. And we've got to change that mentality. And those are not people, those are people that look like you and me that are making those decisions. So yes, we passed the policy, strong policy, and we need stronger ones. But we have to have a culture change amongst those who actually spend your hard-earned tax dollars, and not just in county government, school system, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, and then we need to talk about state government as well as federal.
Thank you, Councilman Franklin. I mean, since you and Councilman Hawkins are there, maybe you are closer to them. You can ask the right questions and basically kind of like be the advocate for the county. All right, very good. Thank you. So the next question, actually, Councilman Hawkins, you have been quiet. So the next one is actually directed to you. It says, Councilman Hawkins, we appreciate the support you have shown in the efforts to provide a better services to Muslim inmates in the Upper Marlboro prison. There has been some frustrations in moving things forward. Ramadan is less than 2 months. Actually, now I think it's about, 5 weeks, or yeah, basically or so away. And we would like to make sure the inmates are served in the best way possible. Now, what can we do to make progress on these issues? And also, Councilman Franklin, can you assist also? Councilman Hawkins, are you there?
I got a call from, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, Dr. Ali.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that question very, very much. But to the individual or individuals that sent me that question, you know, when you were having challenges, I was there up until this moment. I was not aware that there was challenges with where you are in the discussion with the Department of Corrections Administration. So, brothers, you know what we do. We can have a call Sunday. I can get the leadership from Department of Corrections on there and talk. Now, how we get to the Ramadan and engagement with the COVID-19 going on, I can't speak on that, but what I can speak on, if there's frustration with the dialogue as you presented, Dr. Ali, my response is, let's do what we did before. Let's get the people on the phone, because I think talking and communicating and conversing gets to you the answers and gets to resolutions that we need. So while I don't run from your question, I do offer you an opportunity to work with me as we've done in the past to get that resolved. So it's a two-way street. You raised the question, my brothers and sisters, let's talk about it. If Councilmember Franklin want to participate with us, he can as well. The door is always open. But let's not allow us to have town hall meetings to raise issues that you have direct access to me to bring up. Yeah, because like I said, you all got to hold us accountable, because if 4 years from now, 8 years from now, 6 years from now, we haven't resolved some of the issues that you have brought to our attention, at least for me, and as well, I would say for Councilmember Franklin, there's no need to be in these positions. It's public service, but it's elected office, so let's get it done.
Definitely. We'll work with you on that. Thank you very much.
I'm going to hold you to it, Dr. Ali.
Definitely. Councilman Franklin, do you want to add something to that?
I'm just I've got Councilor Hawkins' back and yours on it. I'm there. Whenever he calls, I will be there.
Thank you. So I'll go to the next question. It says, for the first time, Prince George's County schools will be closed for Eid holiday in May for this year through the efforts of Prince George's County Muslim Council. We know this is a school administration and a school board issue, and we worked with them to get it done. Can the council send messages to PGCPS that this should be permanent? This question to both of you.
I don't mind going first on this one. Hey, Dr. Ali.
Yes, sir.
You all have a Muslim leader on the school board, Rahila Ahmed. Powerful, dynamic leader. They are now, for the first time, in a majority. The colleagues of hers that she voted on the block with are in the majority. The school board has autonomy. She and her colleagues can pass that to make what you want a reality. I will work with Councilmember Franklin and get other council members on board to support it. But what I want to share with you, because that question came up, I will personally call Rahila on the school board and talk to her what she needs help in and how we can make that happen. I'm assuming that she's supportive of this.
That's true. And also, if you can add while you're calling her to the CEO, that would be great. And anyone else that is there. Thank you.
What I'm saying is the majority of the school board members vote for this, it becomes policy. Correct me if I'm wrong, council member at large.
No, that's right. And I believe they can make their holidays permanent for the school system. And so I definitely agree with Chair Hawkins. We definitely would be happy to support that. But the fastest way to get that done is to get Rahila, board member Ahmed, and the other members of the board to pass. I think you'd have a majority.
Excellent. So the more calls you guys can make, the better. Thank you. So I'll go to the next question. Prince George's County Muslim Council has been providing internships to college-age students that we subsidize to help them better understand civic engagement and policy making. This has included internships in the office of Standing Higher and Republican Representative Brown, among others. Are there internship opportunities for our young people at the county council? If not, can we arrange an internship program for our youth on a long-term basis?
So I know the Summer Youth Jobs Program does have a component where they do send us interns during the summer. So, just from my point of view, I would encourage you to make sure sign up for that program. I think it starts pretty early on. Matter of fact, after COVID-19, I think because I believe it's paused right now for obvious reasons. After this all subsides, I believe that program will be fully back up and running, and you definitely would have the opportunity to potentially work with a council member, I believe there's a way you can state your preference as to the kind of job that you'd like to be assigned to. So that would be the avenue that I'm aware of. And of course, you can obviously always contact council offices directly about any such opportunities.
And also, Dr. Ali, I will talk with the council member at large to ensure that what I'm saying is correct. Ashley, my chief of staff, probably will get on me in the morning for saying this, but we can work and see if we can at least, at a minimum, and the council, see if we can hire for the summer interns or 5 of the individuals you select and we interview, so they get the experience of working at the county level in the legislative branch to see how things work. And who knows, we may get a couple of future council members out of it. But that's how we can start the ball, in addition to what Councilmember Franklin said.
Definitely, and you have seen some of those young people, Councilman Hawkins, when we were together at the Ramadan drive-through. You've seen some of those young people. Yeah, so if we can give them the opportunity, that would be great.
So we'll work with you, Dr. Ali?
No problem. Yes, you can work with me. Definitely. Yes, sir.
I mean, whoever you all say, so we can start working on it.
Definitely. Yes, we can work together. So I'll go to the next question. It's from the YouTube comments. It says, Prince George's County Schools is the 20th largest school district in the county with $2.3 billion budget. Can we discuss a halal food program for our Muslim students?
I would love to tell you yes, but that, again, is the autonomy of the school board.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. So I guess that is something that we have to work with the county as well, with the school board. So the next question says, what can be done to make sure that the county businesses get some of the businesses that you're speaking of attracting to Prince George's County?
And so I think that's sort of similar to what we were talking about before, and not only a stronger policy around equity and diversity for minority businesses located here in the county, but also better enforcement and execution. But one thing I would say, we do need a strong voice from the community that is persistent on that issue. Oftentimes, we don't hear enough from our residents who are interested in making sure more of our dollars stay with persons of color here in the county.
Thank you very much. The next question says, will there be additional allocated funds for programs like Grab and Go to assist county residents?
I believe they are actually starting back the Grab and Go programs. I guess they received some. Councilmember Franklin spoke about it earlier when he was talking about the CARES and the state funding, CARES Act and state funding. They actually have started the Grab and Go. I think maybe a week or two ago, or maybe, yeah, they're starting. So yes, the answer is yes. The county exec's office through Sonia Wellborn is they're starting up. I'm looking forward to coming by Sweet Tooth and seeing their involvement with it. Hope they're part of the rotation. But yes, it started again.
Excellent. And the next question says, is it possible to open up vaccination centers at some of our mosques if we are ready to participate? And what do we need to do?
You work with Councilmember Franklin and I. Got my man Iman Lamptey on here. He prayed at our council hearing. We are so grateful to you, sir. But yes, if you're ready, Councilmember Franklin and I work with you to ensure that the health department puts you in the rotation, because We can't have just one religious group doing it, and can't just have the Protestants. We need the Muslims as well. So we're ready to work with you on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the county really needs more faith community sites, and I think that would be a great opportunity. Yep, I agree, Chair.
Thank you very much. I'm just going through the questions that I'm getting. So this question says, I am running an IT firm and consistently have paid apprentices on board in attempt to give back to the community and retain talent within the county. Typically, an apprentice needs 1 to 2 years of paid work, but after they end up with an IT job paying 60 to 70K 2 years after high school, sometimes we have 5 successes over 3 years. Are there any county programs that can support my company in this effort or potential for a partnership?
I was trying to understand the first part of that. So this is one of your members within, or one of the viewers with an IT company. They offer
Apprenticeship.
internships.
Mm-hmm.
Internships, and they're looking for a partnership to accomplish what exactly?
So this job, they basically gives them 60 to 70K 2 year after high school sometimes. So we have 5 successes over the 3 years. Are there any county programs that can support my company in this effort or potential for partnership? Basically, this is invest in training. Basically, can the county?
I see. Yeah, I understand that. I would encourage you to connect with a gentleman named Walter Simmons, who leads our main workforce development agency called Employ Prince George's. If you don't have his information, I know his email address is W.Simmons, so WSIMMONS. So WSimmons at co.pg.md.us. I want to encourage you to with him because he is always looking for those partnership opportunities. If you need his business phone number, is 301-618-8433. That's 301-618-8433. And again, that's WSimmons at co.pg.md.us. And his organization, which is a lot of it's funded by the county, is called Employ Prince George's, and he would be able to answer that question as well as to look for how that his agency, which is as I mentioned, it's kind of a quasi private entity, but also publicly funded by the county. That would be where we would encourage you to partner.
Thank you very much. The next question is dealing with about the money from the MGM. As you know, that former governor used almost $500 million to use that money somewhere else. This governor, almost 1.5 billion, the money that came from there, used for something else instead of education. So how come that money hasn't been used to the schools as it was originally sold to the county, that it would be going to the education?
Could Dr. Ali say that one more time?
So the money that comes from the casino, basically, the MGM. So it was supposed to be going to the education. But that money hasn't been going to the education as it was promised. Yes, there are some that's going there, but the majority of the money, the governors have been using it for something else. Former governor, almost $500 million, he used it for other projects that he had. This governor, almost 1.3 to 1.5 billion, he used it for other tasks that he had. Is there any way that you guys can help make sure that that money goes to the county schools?
Actually, Councilmember Franklin can speak on this too. The state members voted for what they call a lockbox. So now, before that money can go anywhere, they could do anything like you referenced. Now it goes directly into a fund that's directly responsible, that directly goes to schools and educational programs, opposed to what you said Is that correct? Did I say that? I try to simplify it without getting way up here.
Yep, no, that's right, and that's before that lockbox got passed. It was the case that that money was essentially being put into a fund, and then other money that was going to that fund was going elsewhere. So it wasn't really increasing education funding. Because the voters passed that lockbox, now that's changed. So now the funds from the casinos that the state gets will now go to education. Obviously, we're now talking about the Kirwan education formula, which is the new formula for funding education, which should result in a big increase in education funding for the county. Now, in terms of the county's portion of the MGM dollars, from the get-go, at least 50% of those dollars had to go towards public education, and it could not, what they call, supplant other money. So it couldn't be that you put that money in and you take other money that you were giving education away. That's what the state was doing. That ended when the lockbox was passed, as Chair Hawkins said, in 2018.
Excellent. And because a lot of these companies come and they say that we are doing something for the county, and that was an example for the MGM grant. And now we have this marijuana dispensary saying we are helping the county, and they're trying to open it right in our neighborhoods. So it's very important that you guys are very vigilant in making sure that those kind of bills don't pass.
Yeah, just to be clear, the MGM is paying the money to the state,
exactly.
But it's the state that was not using the money the way voters were led to believe.
Definitely. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys joining us tonight, Councilman Franklin and Hawkins. I am going to pass on now to the president, Brother Jamil Johnson. Please welcome.
Great job, Dr. Ali.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely, great job.
Thank you. Brother Jamil, you're muted. You want to unmute yourself?
Okay, I was getting some static before, so I muted up. But I want to thank Dr. Ali for taking the time to moderate this. Matter of fact, he heads up our political committee. So we're spreading this work out, and we're definitely going to need to, because council members, y'all gave us a whole bunch of homework to do. So the group is really going to have to get some organized stuff. But this is why we have these, so we can get the information.
He got me working. He has a few tasks for me already.
Yes, exactly. This is where we get the information from you. The community hears where it comes from, and sees where it needs to get involved. And one thing I want to clarify, that make sure in talking with the brothers who are dealing with the Upper Marlboro prison, they're definitely appreciative of your efforts so far. And they've been talking with them. They came back to me recently to say they're not getting there, but that wasn't a gotcha question. It was just an issue of kind of saying, hey, we need to do some more work there. So we look forward to working with you on that. But I want to, encourage our community that's watching. And for you, like the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said, those of you who are here, tell those who are not here about the importance of getting involved. Your local elected officials. And one thing that we found was important about this, because many times people concern themselves about, the presidential race and what's happening in Congress, which is certainly important. But just like former Speaker Tip O'Neill said, all politics is local. And, these are people that you can touch, and they respond to you. And when they make sure that they're helping you in how we're dealing with our everyday lives. So I put the weight and the onus on us as a community to follow up, to work with them, to let them know of our concerns. And when they offer opportunities to assist, because it's not like they just do everything, but also say that, hey, you need to speak with this one and get involved in that program, or this agency. You need to talk, like we said, with the school board. And we worked with Rahila and Sonia Williams and a few of the others to get the day off this year. So we need to continue to work with them to make the closing of the schools on the Eid holiday permanent. We need to keep going with that. but that's going to take the work of the community. Like they say, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. So I'm going to encourage the community to get politically, civically involved. That's what PGCMC is about. Make sure that you join us on March 30th for our town hall, Representative Brown. We also have a couple of other additional upcoming programs that you hear about. One refers to the Muslim contribution to Maryland, over the years, going back, a few hundred years, as well as, working together with other faith groups in regards to, how we can improve conditions here in Prince George's County for the better. It's a great county. I love living here. I love working with gentlemen like this, but until it's paradise, and it will never be paradise, that's for another time, we need to keep working to make it a bit better. So Chairman Hawkins, Council Member Lodge Franklin, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your responsiveness. And, we'll be in touch, because you have a job, but we also have a job. And, when both of us do our jobs, things get a lot better. But members of the community, too, not only get involved, but get involved and join. Institutions cannot function without support from the community. So become members, donate, but also bring us your ideas, your work ethic, your skills, so that we can become a stronger organization, a stronger community for our better. So Jazakallah khairan to everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And council members, we will be in touch.